transportation is the bedrock for everything with these communities. You have to understand that we have a lot of people who've been moved from low-income areas to reconcentrated poverty in other areas far away. So when you have an inadequate public transit system like the one we have in Memphis, that keeps people from being able to have access to job centers, as we see with grocery stores potentially closing and moving, that access to food, it's everything to the bedrock of a community. And so as that disinvestment happens from a community, it just increases more and more, as even now, and a perfect example of that is the Crosstown development. The city of Memphis has said yes, a resounding yes to anything involving helping to fund and finance the redevelopment of Crosstown. But at the same time, the city of Memphis cut the 31 Crosstown bus route, which connects North and South Memphis directly through that area. So how can the people of North and South Memphis participate in all this economic redevelopment if with one hand we finance the creation of oases for privilege, and then we cut off the access that low-income people have to find jobs there, or to be customers there, or to attend that, or to participate in that. And at the same time, we want to tell people that that this isn't segregated. So I think that's as clear a point as anything. So when you look at transportation, another issue that's recently come up is the DHS office, where a lot of people on government assistance go to apply for their benefits. Well, that office on Jackson has moved out to Nankana now. So now people who are dependent on public transit to get there now have to find a new bus route to get there and then add an extra hour trip to their day. This impacts people's entire daily lives. It in fact impacts their access to medical care. It impacts how their children get to school. When you go down Southern, the people in Beltline who used to go to Hanley Elementary, when it rains, that tunnel fills with water. There's no bus that runs there. So there's a group of dads in that community who line up and ferry kids back and forth. These are the types of things that impact daily life. When you have a city that believes that public transit is about funding trolleys downtown for tourists, instead of for the 88% of MATA riders, which is low-income women and children of color. It's the only business model I've ever seen when you deny your most loyal customer base. So when you talk about transportation, you're talking about everything. As we continue to build things further and further east, we are creating an invisible wall to people of color who live in North and South Memphis, where there are no where we're getting rid of grocery stores, where job centers are moving further away. And so we're hollowing out those neighborhoods through a lack of investment, because investment's not going to come there without transit. When that anchor leaves, well, then other things follow suit. And this has been just another part of the tale that's been going on in the north and south parts of the city now for close to 30 years. And it began with the dismantling of public housing. And so when people move to different areas, they moved to those areas at the same time that those areas were moving from majority owner to majority renter. And as the population, the white population of Raleigh, Frazier, those areas moved further east, the businesses in those areas followed them. So then that was followed by people who moved into the area to rent, who wanted to live in a better area, but the area was disinvested as they moved into it. And once the people with money left and the businesses followed, a lot of retail, grocery stores, and you can see that in the north, you can see where the grocery stores were in Raleigh as they move further and further east. Or you see down in Hickory Hill, where a lot of retail continues to move further and further east away from people. So this issue in Kroger and Orange Mound is a part of just a larger story of disinvestment in the African American community that really happened in 30 years. And just to be clear, people on Section 8 did not ruin any neighborhoods in Memphis. Those neighborhoods were disinvested before people moved there. There are only around 5,000 families on Section 8 vouchers. The majority of them are seniors and women with children. These 5,000 people didn't ruin your neighborhood. The lack of investment in your city and the lack of prioritization of your neighborhood and the lack of incentivization of development of your neighborhood is what hollowed out these communities.